Hello, friends. The podcast is back. We're back. It's another, Tuesday. Yes, welcome to Tuesday. We have so much news, all the normal things, the car debates, the car conclusions, your questions. I have something I want to talk about TV show-wise in the Did You See This that just kind of struck me recently about a couple of TV shows I watched. So we'll talk about that as well.
I like most of your Did You See This so far have been movies and TV shows.
That's all it's going to be. That's all it's going to be. Absolutely. You're going to talk about design.
I mean, I'm trying to mix it up because I don't want to bring in watches because I know you might...
I'll
face
just
plant onto your keyboard.
I'll just snooze on the back of my computer for a while, so that'll happen. By the way, for those of you that somehow thought there was some massive conspiracy theory, I put a new sticker on my computer. Are we happy now? It rubbed off in my bag by being put in my bag and taken places, so the Y rubbed off. There was no big conspiracy theory. The CIA was not involved. The NSA has not been here, but I put a new sticker on.
I'm so glad.
There we go. Yes, so that's happened.
You've solved the problem.
The world is better now. Good. So yeah, anyway, speaking of ways the world is, changing better. I don't know which way we want to go. We should dive right into news. Mercedes, have you heard? Mercedes cannot give away the EQ series vehicles.
So we were just in California, and we saw some. I saw some on the freeway, and I thought, you bought that. I also saw that Lexus RX 330.
The thing that is the Solara and the whatever. The
terrible. I'm like, you paid money for that.
Apparently, big deals are available for those, and it is Lexus products. So you get that service. But Mercedes has decided to stop selling all the EQ models here in the U.S., which is part of the news. But the secondary news is they're going to aim big. They're going to go big.
Yeah, they are. I like this news from Mercedes because they are teasing the biggest product launch in history of Mercedes. 15 vehicles of the 30 they're promising are slated to be EVs, which is all fine, but they are going to inundate us, I think.
They're talking like 30 cars in the next 2 years.
So on a recent trip, we were just filming in California, and we stayed near a Mercedes dealer.
We did, yes.
In Pleasanton, California. So we were in NorCal.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This dealership is enormous.
Massive, yes.
And just looking at the vehicles on the lot, I'm thinking Mercedes already has a lot of products.
Totally agree.
We also have seen all the coupe versions of all the SUVs, wondering when are those going to die. So does that mean for Mercedes,
yes,
you know, the SUV and the coupe version of that? I don't think so. I think hopefully that the manufacturers are done with that. We've gotten over ourselves, even though I still see some versions of those coming out. But this is an onslaught of new cars from Mercedes.
I don't understand how they're going to do 30 cars in 2 years. That is almost too much, frankly.
The problem I have with it is that it indicates a lot of platform sharing. It just indicates, especially with the EVs, it's going to drive the same. It's a different model, but no, it's not. It's just new styling with pretty much all the same switchgear, electronics, everything in there. Probably same seats, interior materials, and it's different shapes to meet different people's needs. Well, but how many people do you have to cart around, and how much stuff do you have to cart around? And that's going to be determining the shape and size and scope of every vehicle coming out.
To your point, though, some of that is they're going to get away with some of that by doing things like the GLC and the GLC Coupe. And it'll be two models.
I think we're over that. I hope we're over that.
I am not convinced.
Can we be done with that and Piano
Black? I'd like
Black?
to be done, but I think...
Put that on our past?
I think those are going to happen. I think there will be doubling up there, which is pretty interesting. I also saw this bit of news. We have to talk about this. We have to talk about the fact that the Cybertruck... I'm going to show you here a photo for those of you that can't see it. This is a photo of a parking lot full of dumpsters. I mean, a parking lot full of Cybertrucks.
Look at all the trash dumpsters.
A bunch of Cybertrucks. Now, I will admit this photo isn't necessarily the photo related to what I'm going to talk about, but that is Cybertrucks awaiting delivery, which speaks to the fact that Tesla, who thought they were going to sell 250,000 Cybertrucks a year, that was what they thought, has sold 50,000 to date. I was actually reading this morning, 6,000 so far in 2025. So that means they sold just over 40,000 when the thing finally came out and was the thing. And you said we were just in Cali. It was interesting to see how many of them are in Cali. There's a lot of them in California.
Yeah, we saw a lot of them.
There's still a few here. All the ones here I feel like are now billboards for some business. They're just a rolling billboard.
It's a write-off.
Yes,
easy way
for
to
sure.
Get yourself
but
into one.
The reality is these are piling up unsold. But the bit of news is the U.S. Air Force uses vehicles for target practice. This is a known thing, okay? Mm-hmm. They want 30 new vehicles to shoot at to test munitions in New Mexico, and they have insisted that 2 of them be Cybertrucks.
I'm all about this. I'm all about this.
Because here's what this has layers, okay? They've insisted that 2 of them are Cybertrucks. Now, on first blush, this looks like one of those government programs, let's figure out a way for Tesla to get full price for its extra Cybertrucks. And that concerns me, because the other thing you have to keep in mind is it's that same thing you always hear about. In the U.S. Government, like many businesses, if you don't use your budget, you don't get that much budget next year.
Right, you got to use it up.
Leads to $500 hammers because we got to use our budget. I'm very concerned about the U.S. government paying full price for Tesla Cybertrucks that they can't actually get to sell at all. But I don't think that's as much as what's going on here as the other part of this article that we both read. And that is, they want 2 of them to be Cybertrucks because they are genuinely concerned that Cybertrucks are going to wind up elsewhere in the world, essentially armored as mini tank vehicles, and they want to make sure their munitions properly work against Cybertrucks. So here's where my brain
they're also
goes.
stainless, but that shouldn't matter.
Shouldn't matter. We know they aren't bulletproof, but I'm sure they're not missile-proof
Sure
either.
they are.
But here's what's happened. The vehicles that normally end up there are beat-down Toyota trucks we don't want anymore.
Right.
These trucks are theoretically going to miss the first, second, third buyer and just go straight to 4 corners of the globe as the beat-down truck. And then what kind of carnage, ecological, natural carnage is caused by blowing up a Cybertruck? You take a munition that already is going to scar the land beyond belief, and you throw a missile at a Cybertruck. What kind of don't come near here for 100 years carnage does that leave on the globe?
Extra big boom.
Seriously, there are layers of this that make me laugh so hard.
You know, I've been seeing commentary about people saying, because this is stealth fighter-esque with its surfaces, they're saying they want these for targeting systems.
Yes, that's
to
what I've heard
understand
too, yes.
how will the targeting systems react to the material and, of course, the faceted surfaces, which might have a bit of validity. I'm reading the same article everyone else is, and it's funny. We don't know if they're getting them for, or if they're paying full price MSRP. I kind of doubt it.
I hope not.
But
even though I don't think the U.S. government, typically when you get a government contract,
really
you pay
care.
full price. That's the thing. They don't worry about it, so they pay it full.
They don't worry about it. And with the cost of munitions, they're not
Yes.
too concerned about spending a little bit extra for target practice. So whatever. But, you know, it had to be done. So now we've got at least one Tesla Roadster in space, and now we're shooting at other Teslas.
Uh-huh. Not only are they not bulletproof, we're going to really prove it.
Good.
Here's my recommendation for the U.S. military. If you're going to blow up a Cybertruck with ammunition, put that on your YouTube channel and then also release the explosion moment as a short, because you'll probably make a good amount of money back on the fact that that's just out there to the general public to watch a Cybertruck getting absolutely decimated by I don't even know what, but you're going to throw a lot of things at it. But we're blowing up Cybertrucks now, everybody. That's what we've reached.
More news from GM and Hyundai talking about co-developing vehicles, and I did not see that the first time around. They actually announced they were working together, and this does not necessarily mean it's for the North American market. They are talking about 2 different segments, actually 3 different segments of co-developing vehicles to make more than 800,000 vehicles in a year once production is fully scaled. GM apparently is leading the development of a mid-size truck platform because GM is good at building trucks.
They are, yes. Mm-hmm.
Hyundai is leading the compact vehicle and electric van segments, and so they're sharing common platforms because, of course, developing unique interiors and exteriors consistent with the respective brands, according to the Hyundai press release. Design engineering work underway on the new vehicles for the Central and South American markets, launching in 2028. They've got this commercial van to be manufactured in the U.S. as early as 2028. GM has kind of partnered with Korean companies before, Daewoo in particular.
True.
Working with Korean companies is not something that's new to them. It gives them access to tech.
It gives them opportunity. I think there's an interesting thing going on here. There is a photo that was released with this that I think I'm going to read into it. I'm going to read a bunch of stuff into this photo that I don't think was necessarily thought about, but I'm going to put it out there anyway. And that is a photo of the 2 CEOs shaking hands. Okay? Fine. Of course, that's what you want. But the reality is, you've probably heard this before, the Hyundai H, The Hyundai H is described as it's supposed to be two people shaking hands. That's the shape. And I don't know how smart this photographer was. The Hyundai logo is above where they're shaking hands, and the shape of their shaking hands does align with the Hyundai logo look. I think this is a power play, and GM lost.
Oh, you think so?
GM was
Really?
the big dog here, but GM signing with Hyundai, I do not think GM looks like the big dog. I think they look like the retreating brand, and Hyundai looks like, look where we are now. And the fact that their logo is two CEOs shaking hands, and here's just below their logo, two CEOs shaking hands. I think this is a power play that GM is the little dog now.
Despite their investment in EVs and their own Ultium platform and their existing tie-ups?
Well, GM, but that's the thing. GM jumped headfirst more than probably any other brand. They did a 180 pivot. The world's going EV. GM's going to be all EV.
Volkswagen was slightly ahead of them, I think.
Possibly. But GM went so far down the road.
Claimed.
And now that there is a big retreat in EV take-up, GM's caught. They're caught in a place where they didn't develop the non-EV stuff. They spent billions on EVs. I mean, you've mentioned before, they kept their V8 plants open and that kind of stuff, but they spent most of their R&D and most of their big spend was all toward EVs. And now the market is turning away from that, which means GM has to be on a retreat path and find other ways back to other markets, and they partner with Hyundai, who, 20 years ago, Hyundai partners with GM. Who's Hyundai? Hyundai partners with any.
True.
Right now, this is at least equals, and possibly Hyundai's got the one up. And I couldn't help but see their logo and their company description of the logo when I saw this photo of the two CEOs shaking hands. I'm reading in, none of that is official, but I just thought, I don't think GM is the power move here. So I'll use that as a transition to an actual GM power move, and that is the ZR1 at the Ring. This happened a little while ago.
Yes.
It's very impressive. They've got the ZR1 and the ZR1X, so the rear-wheel drive and the all-wheel drive version. The ZR1 did 650.7. The ZR1X, the all-wheel drive version, did 649.2, and both of those, if memory serves, is slightly faster than the Mustang GTD, which was the point. The Mustang did, I think, 652 something or something like that.
Yep.
So both of these beat the Mustang, and of course, Ford has now said, all right, it's on and we're coming back or whatever. But we had heard already that Chevy was going to try to take the GTD American-made car record at the Ring. And they clearly went and did, and it's very impressive. One of the other things that's impressive about this, but this is the place I want to actually dig in. These guys in the photo, these guys in all the photos, and on all the press stuff, these are the GM Corvette engineers.
Yep.
This is not a hired gun driver.
Yeah, none of them were pro drivers.
So now, there's two ways to look at this. On one level, these guys are good drivers.
Oh, yeah,
I'm not going,
absolutely.
but it's just GM drivers, doesn't matter. No, these guys are excellent drivers. But the thing I think is interesting here is the fact that I watched some of the in-car, and I am not claiming by any shape or form that I am as fast a driver as these guys. No part of me thinks I could touch these times in these cars. I'm not pretending that at all. But we've seen a lot of in-car, and we know the track well.
True.
I know the track pretty well at this point, and I've watched a lot of in-car. And the thing I'm noting when I watch these in-cars is, in places, these guys are offline. In places, these guys are not optimal. And why should they be? Their purpose is not to know the ring.
First.
Their purpose is to drive these cars. And I'm sure they knew the ring well enough, but I kept thinking about our friend David Petard.
Okay.
David is a master of the ring. He's won the 24 hours of Nürburgring. He drove that Chinese car, whatever it was called, that got the X7 or whatever. He drove the X7, and when they drove it in non-optimal weather conditions, he did a 640 something. He went back in optimal conditions and did a 622. Now that is a 20-second cut off his lap time.
Insane.
The point I want to make here is the Ring is not like other tracks in the world in one major way when it relates to time. Your typical racetrack, you can get offline in a corner. It'll add a half second to a second to your lap very easily. You're like a second slower and you made one little mistake. Yeah. The Ring is so long that time compounds.
Yeah,
and
true.
you start missing a corner here or not being optimal there, and it's not like, David Petard's an example. It's not like we can go find a second or two. You can go find 10.
Simply because of the
The
length.
difference between the difference between we got that corner perfect and we got it right, that compounds over time. 10 seconds are available here. I think while this is very impressive, and I'm very impressed that Chevy took this car and beat the GTD, I think there's more in it. What's David Pittard do in this car? Yeah. While I'm very impressed with these numbers, people have been saying, well, there's other cars that have gone faster. And my question is, those other cars that have gone faster are things like the Mercedes 1 and the Manthey Racing GT2. Mm-hmm. And most of the time, those were driven by guys that the ring is their thing. David Pittard in this car, I bet you money there is a low 640 or something in the 630s in these cars with a ringmaster behind the wheel. That shows you just how impressive these are, and I think there is more time here, and Ford has its work cut out for it.
Well, I think the same thing could be said for the GTD. I think if you put that same driver in the Mustang, there's a whole heck of a lot more in that car, because I also watched that Chris Harris with Max Verstappen, Max taking it out and starting to explore the edges right away, very early, and impressing Chris. Now, I don't know if Chris was feigning a little bit how impressed he was, or if it truly he was blown away. I think I probably would be blown away by the talents of Max.
Pretty impressed, yeah.
So Max was already getting close to the edges of the GTD, so you could say the same thing about this car or that Mustang, and put the same pro driver. So I think at this point, the only way to really know is to have the same drivers.
I agree with you.
Or let's do 3 drivers, let's say, and they each drive the same car. They're each prepped the same way, optimal conditions, same tires, because I think this can keep going back and forth. As much as I respect the GTD, this appeals to me far more.
I agree with you, yeah.
But also, what do you do with this? Other than drive it to Cars and Coffee and say, this is the American ring record production car.
You're right.
Don't you want to take a photo?
Yeah, you're right.
Really, I mean, incredibly impressive.
Well, and Corvette.
So what's next, though?
Totally. And this is Corvette doing the Corvette thing. Corvette has just beat the GTD, and it's like almost a third of the cost of the GTD, which is even crazier.
Yes.
I mean, I hate to say this, as impressive as the GTD is, and as much as I want to drive it, the Mustang doesn't need to be the end-all, be-all. This was where the Ford GT was great, and I know they made a Ford GT in a couple different variations, and they were phenomenal cars, okay? But I really, personally, I'm not a Mustang guy, clearly, but I struggle with, we made a nearly $400,000 Mustang. I know it's not all Mustang, but we made a $400,000 Mustang that's super heavy, and I have no doubt it's super impressive, and I'm incredibly excited to drive it.
Yeah.
But if you're going to make a hypercar, just make a hypercar. You don't have to take a car you have and turn it into a hypercar. The Corvette is on the border. The only reason the Corvette's working here is because they went mid-engine with it.
Correct. And Mustang still having that swath between the base rental convertible to the GTD. There's a lot of models in there, but I think still the base car kind of tears it down a little bit. It's the wrong shape. It has that linkage all the way back here, whereas I suppose you could say the same thing about the Corvette, but the Corvette still seems a little bit more supercar-ish now, having gone mid-engine with its shape. It's like the Mustang is the wrong shape to do this with. It's almost more impressive that it's even close to this time than this actually beating the Mustang.
The Mustang GTD is fantastic, that it's as heavy as it is and works as well as it does and gets the times that it does. I am fascinated to drive that car and this car. But I actually wonder, maybe one of you knows this better than we do, but is the Mustang now the car with the largest swath ever between base and top end? We're talking 10 times price difference. You can get a base one in the 30s. You can get a GTD for nearly $400,000. It's more than 10 times the price of the base model. That has to be the widest swath ever. Even in world of 911s, the 911 swath isn't that big. The base 911 is $100,000, and the top one is like
Porsche
$300,000.
We'll show you.
I am utterly fascinated by this battle here, and I also think it's funny that the cars that are above this aren't mass-produced cars. The GT2 is as close as we get to mass-produced, and it isn't.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. These are cars that are built in quantity, and they've turned them into monsters like this. That's amazing.
They're monsters, but they're not good for any race series.
Oh, true.
The Mustang
True.
GTD is like the perfect IMSA car, except they already have GT3 Mustangs.
And
They
this
already
one
have
doesn't
that
meet
are
regulation.
lighter
I
and
take your
actually
point. Yeah,
meets the rule book.
Yeah.
And this one is good for, I'm still not sure what, but as impressive as these times are, look at the lap time difference. You would think a car with 200 extra horsepower and the front wheel drive electric motor pulling it through corners ostensibly.
Yeah, this is
would actually be more, that's just over a second faster.
Over a second. On the ring.
You'd think with what you've noted over that length that this would be 5-10 seconds faster.
Well, that also
and that would justify the X to me, because now the times are so close, again, in the hands of Pro-Am drivers.
Yes.
They're too close to justify. They don't justify each other's existence. It's either just have one or the other.
But back to what you said before, and that is they were different drivers too. This is the fastest time of each car with different drivers. If the same driver was in it and the same driver ran the same lap, would they get the same time? Would they be even closer? I don't know.
But they might have, but they're not going to post a slower time for the X.
Of course not.
Because that doesn't sell cars.
Yes, exactly. But at the end of the day, I have to say the big takeaway here is wow to Chevy.
Yes.
And I am astounded by these engineers who, without being ringmasters, went and did this. And I still think let's get David Pittard or Jörg Bergmeister or somebody that everybody can agree on that knows the ring, and they're throwing them down. Or maybe 2 or 3, like, these are your certified ring record drivers. And because that's the only way that this is going to make any kind of sense when you're getting into a second or two over a track as long as that.
Well, Max just went out under a pseudonym and set the fast lap.
A super fast lap for the full
having never
ring.
driven it actually and only driving it on
that
sim.
day. Yeah.
Can we just ask Max? Max, will you?
He's not busy. He's got nothing going on. It's, you know what? Honestly, I can't believe the guy's still in F1. I can't believe he's still in F1. I can't believe he's not bored yet. Anyway,
I think he is bored, and I think he
is.
has. I don't think he's in F1 for a long time to come. What if Max and Lewis both left? Would Formula One be as interesting? I think it would take a while for it to ramp back up and be as interesting.
I think there'd be a couple seasons where it really is a bit of a free-for-all, and that's kind of what F1 needs. Sorry, I didn't expect that the ZR1
Let's ask
ring
Max.
thing would go
Max,
to...
you're not busy.
Yeah.
Can you drive Mustang? You've already driven. You kind of know it already. And jump in these two, and we'll see what's what.
Speaking of American manufacturers, we should also jump to this news. Have you seen this? Dodge has decided engines sell. Dodge has decided. This actually was announced the day we do this podcast. We knew it was coming, but it's official now. The new Dodge Charger, or it's actually not that new because it's been out for a year, but just hasn't sold as an EV, in 2-door and 4-door is getting the RHO, the straight 6 3-liter twin-turbo engine that was recently in the Ram RHO that you and I drove.
Which we
that
like
was
that
the
engine.
Replacement engine for the big TRX Hemi, essentially. So it's not a Hemi V8, but it is a 500 and something horsepower and 500 and something torque turbocharged twin turbo straight 6 engine that we actually like that engine a lot in this. So I'm very curious to see, does this do it for Dodge? Does this vehicle start selling now?
They're posting numbers already. 550 horsepower, 531 pound-feet of torque on 91 octane, standard all-wheel drive. Yes, I think it will work.
Okay.
My big problem is they're still too big.
They are
still
big.
too
They're
big
massive.
and heavy.
Yeah.
Just don't understand. The Mustang is too big and heavy. The Corvette is slightly too big. If that were like 8/10,
if the current C8, yes, if it was 80% scale
and slightly smaller,
and 3,200 pounds, 3,100 pounds,
all you have to do is remove the golf element out of the design brief, and it would have been 75% scale of what it is.
I'm sorry your golf bags don't fit, but have you seen this car?
That was the real buzzkill, but again, people want to take their vet to go golfing. We've done a video on that, by the way. I think this is still too big. It feels and looks even bigger than the last gen.
Yeah, it
Both
does. It does.
Challenger and Charger. I feel like it's still too big, even though that kind of power is going to make it dance.
For sure.
That's what people want. Yeah. But the other thing that's going to hold it back is noise. Sound sells. We've identified this constantly. Whenever you buy a car, and especially the comments we see on YouTube, Imagine paying blank amount and you only got 6 cylinders.
It is
Imagine
amazing
the
how much that
tragedy.
comes up. Yeah, or
Or you
4
only got
cylinders
4
or
cylinders,
whatever.
or-
People say that all the time.
So you're now
Yeah.
equating dollar amount to number of cylinders, and it almost doesn't matter what the power is. It matters how many cylinders you have. But they had that engine teed up. It's in production.
Yep.
So that's the easy way out. So it'll help, but we're still not quite back to where they need to be. And I think they're going to continue to learn that.
Well, yes, but they also are pivoting, and they know it already, because there's also been news that the 392 is going to stay in the Wrangler and find its way into the Gladiator, and they're talking about doing the 392 in the Wrangler and Gladiator indefinitely. So they've drawn the line off the board, the planning board, which is interesting. And there is a lot of rumor right now that the TRX, which we loved with the Hemi, and then it got this RHO, which we actually still liked it in that. And in some ways, I think was the better daily, even though that's not a daily truck. But anyway, better daily with that engine. But we're fully expecting the TRX with the Hemi motor to come back.
Yes.
Apparently, Stellantis has realized that that's really what their customers want from that vehicle. So that engine's working its way back around into reality somewhere. They're going to dust off how they made them. Or maybe they got a bunch from the back. I don't know.
Probably still do.
They probably do,
But this time around, the 2.0 has to be more.
Yeah.
We were at 700 horsepower. All of our minds were blown. 700 horsepower, supercharged with a warranty. What kind of metallurgy sorcery is going on in that engine? We don't care. We'll buy it, right?
Yeah.
Everybody bought it. So now John Hennessy gets a hold of those things, does drag races with everything.
Yeah.
So do they need to go consult with John to actually make something? The 800 horsepower, because there already was the TRX Mammoth for 1,000 horsepower.
Yeah, he always does that stuff.
Let's start dropping crate motors into these trucks and go crazy. It's got to have more, though. It's always got to. The next gen has to have more.
But here's the thing, though. Even if it doesn't have more, the marketing can be it's back, everybody. Even if it's exactly the same as it was, it can be. It's, you know what it is? It's new Coke. New Coke comes out.
Oh, you're right.
New Coke comes out. And it's like the new latest and greatest, and there were all these. I'm going way back, but it happened. There was a time in life when Coke was made one way, and then they made new Coke, and there were all of these news stories. I was a kid. There were all these news stories about the people that were like filling the back of their cars and buying trailers of current Coke because they didn't like new Coke, and it was just new Coke on the shelves for a while, and then they went to Coke Classic, meaning the prior. And all of a sudden it's back, everybody. They can do that with a Hellcat motor in the TRX. It's back, everyone. I know you didn't like new TRX, new Coke. Old Coke is back. It can be the same. Supercharger wine with 700 horsepower. It's just the fact that it's back and we're burning gas again. That will sell. The problem is, will these big engines sell these cars well enough for these companies and brands to survive? And I just don't know, because the heavy horsepower big motor is on one level every bit as politicized as the EV version.
For sure. Yeah.
And they just need to sell cars. I think the all-wheel drive is the fascinating part of that they're all going to be all-wheel drive, but you can turn off all-wheel drive to do a burnout. It's like, can we just have it be rear wheel? Anyway, whatever. I know all-wheel drive, there's an equal sign in people's minds to safer, but we're talking about a 4,000 pound plus 500 horsepower plus monster. It's going to be dangerous no matter what you do.
The Dodge Apology Tour is coming soon.
That's
We're
right.
sorry.
That's
we
the
messed
t-shirt.
up. Will you buy one now? Because we brought it back and it's got even more power, maybe 750 or something.
Is the band shirt the co-op tour, the Volkswagen and Dodge Apology Tour with like dual dates all across the world?
Oh, coming soon to a dealer near you. The Dodge Apology Tour. And we're sorry, the V8's back. Good
back,
news.
everybody.
And I don't think Dodge can build a small car. I don't think Stellantis can build a small, compact, fun, lightweight, interesting
The Dart and
car.
the 200 Chrysler were dead on arrival. They were dead.
I don't think they can do it.
When they dropped
Everything
them
has
the
to be
last
big
time.
and heavy. So let's bolt the biggest engine we can
Big
find
engines.
and
Here we go.
sell cars. Since you're listening to us, you'll end up shopping for your next car very soon. And when you do, you need Autotempest.com.
Any car, anywhere, at any price, Autotempest searches all the major car listing sites on the web, local or nationwide. And Autotempest has recently added price history for every car listed, so you can see how prices are trending and know if you found a good deal. You can also create search alerts and lists of saved searches so you can find your perfect spec even easier next time.
Search on any device, in your browser, or as an app for Apple iOS and Android. New, used, or unexpected, AutoTempest is how we search for cars. Go to autotempest.com/everyday so they know we sent you. AutoTempest. All the cars. One search.
For our topic Tuesday today, we're talking lists. I know you like lists.
But
we actually wanted to talk about used cars under 50K. More importantly, our top 5, each of us, our top 5 sports cars. So that means 2 seats only, dedicated sports cars, available right now under $50,000. I gave myself an extra parameter. I only broke for one car, and that is they can't be more than 20 years old. We could go back. We could just keep going back.
Yeah, we could.
We keep back and back and back and back, and we could argue, okay, but this was a better sports car because of what the original sports car name.
Yeah.
And, I don't mind driving something 40 years old. We could do that. But I stayed, with the exception of one car, I stayed essentially 20 years old and newer. And I got more than 5 because I think you're going to bring some of the ones I do. So I made sure I had at least a clean 5.
I think there's going to be some overlap in our list. But this list got me thinking. So top 5 sports cars we recommend under 50K.
Yep.
I could have gone in many different directions. And so what we're looking for from you, listener and viewer, we're looking for your spin on these lists, on these top 5 or top 10s, because we've driven so many things now, and I think there's such a dearth of lightweight, fun, interesting offerings. I want to cover SUVs. I do want to cover trucks.
Yeah. We're going to cover lots of market segments.
Then
for sure,
there's, I think for a future podcast, I'm toying with this idea, and that is everybody sick of the new stuff? And we're starting to get emails to this effect. Are you starting to get just tired of the new tech? You've had it with screens.
Yeah.
And old cars are suddenly kind of appealing. Therefore, validating auctions and validating mechanics and tribal knowledge and knowledge of how to repair cars and keep them around and keep them running, and old cars should never disappear. And that's a different discussion, but it does spawn other lists, because we could do top 5 sports cars and go 20 years and older. And say,
we could.
Let's go cheaper and older.
Yeah.
And you know what? That is still appealing to this day.
Do you want to keep it running? But look at how cool it is. Yeah, correct. I hear that. Yeah.
But for now, we're going to stick to these top 5. Do you want to jump in? Please, if you want to jump in.
I'll jump in, but then I guess you're going to have to tell me where I've overlapped with you. But I'm happy to jump in. I also have a wild card that breaks one of the rules. First one for me, you're not surprised. The Mazda Miata, the current Mazda Miata. And yes, you could buy an older one, but we're talking under 50K. The key thing about the current Miata, the ND3 Miata, is with $50,000, you could buy any one you want.
Yep.
You could buy older, you could buy newer, but you could buy the RF loaded out, hard top, retractable roof, or you can buy the classic. Nobody has still figured out how to make a convertible top as good as Mazda Miatas. An actual cloth convertible top. The fact that you can actually unattach it and pull it back with one arm.
Well, it's because the car is so small. It just works. Everything is smaller than everything's.
When my dad had Jaguar E-Types growing up, it was we need to deal with the top. Park on the side of the road, 2-man operation to do it right, so that it folded right. We didn't get weird creases, and that's not going to catch. I understand it was a car from the 60s.
Not like that.
Oh, I had that conversation many, many times.
Like this.
Because I was the kid trying to help with on my side of the car. Yeah, exactly. This is so easy, and they have maintained that for essentially the better part of 40 years now. It's crazy to say that.
That's amazing.
So Mazda Miata has to be on this list, but I think it's amazing that the brand new one, loaded, you won't break 50.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is very impressive.
You may not break 40.
Yeah, true. The next one on the list is going to be no surprise to anyone, so I even used my car, the Lotus Elise. $50,000 in your pocket, you can go buy a Lotus Elise, and I realize this is barely inside the 20-year mark because they started selling them here in 2005, and they sold them until 2011. This is my 06 in the photo, which is bright yellow. Actually has the hard top on it in the photo, but it obviously is a target top that you can roll the top away. But if we're talking dedicated 2-seat sports cars, you have to include the Lotus Elise. Even if you don't buy anything I've ever said about the car, you think the car can't possibly be good, does it come off the list? I don't think it's possible for it to come off the list. $50,000. And most of the ones you want out there right now are priced between about 35 and 45. You can get them 50. You can get some special super duper ones where people are selling for 60 and above, and I don't think you should buy those, but separate thing.
Okay. All right.
Rear wheel drive, lightweight. This is sports car hierarchy here.
Heaven, Nirvana.
It's way up there. It's
is.
way
You're
up
right.
there.
You're right.
So I have to include that one. As I move on, I know you're not surprised, Paul. I'm sure it's on your list. The Cayman and Boxster pair. Now,
okay.
This is 718s in this photo.
Okay.
You might not get a 718 for this money. You might not get a 50. You might get the very early ones with the 2-liter, the just base 2-liter at 50. But I'm just using the latest picture to go, which one can you buy and which one do you want? Yeah. These have been on top 10 lists forever. Since they started making the Boxster and Cayman, it's been on top 10 lists. These are enjoyable sports cars, full stop. Whether you like Porsche, whether you don't like Porsche, whether you have nuance about is it 987 or 981, it doesn't matter. These are, honestly, having just talked about the Elise is much harder to drive than these, and it's much less forgiving than these, even though it's great to drive. The Cayman and Boxster can be your daily, so can the Miata, by the way. They can be your daily, and it is very hard to get these cars to bite. You can be stupid and you can make them bite, but you've got to really be a bonehead to make these cars bite. And that is a real victory on the behalf of Porsche. And the fact that used ones now are down in the 30s is astonishing. It's a lot of car for that money.
Yeah. It's great news. Love that on there.
I imagine that's
we
on
do
your
have some
list
overlap.
Well.
Okay. We do have overlap. It's all good.
There's that one. I'm sure no one's surprised that there's an overlap there. I'm moving on to the C7 Corvette. This happens to be a Grand Sport on this photo. C7 Corvette is way up there for 2-seat sports car. And you may be saying, I'd never get a Corvette. But then there's alternate people that are going, I'd never buy a Porsche. Where are you? Pepsi or Coke here? I don't know if this is new or old Coke, but the C7 is available under 50 grand. Now, you may not get the Z06, but you could probably get a Grand Sport under 50 grand of the C7. I've noticed that
I looked, and yes, you can.
Which? The Grand Sport?
The Grand Sport.
Okay, good.
All of them are under 50
good.
grand.
Excellent. So there you go. So Grand Sport for sure, which is a phenomenal version. But I have to go on a tangent off of Corvette real quick.
Okay.
Because we did this review a while back of the 3 generations, the C7, C6, and C5 that takes you all the way back to the early 2000s of the Z06. All of these are great. I'm cheating the rules of top 5 by just saying, which Corvette do you like?
Okay.
So you could do the C7 Z06 is hard at 50. It's difficult. You can possibly find one, but it might not be one you want. So that Z06 is good. But the C6 Z06 has that big old 7-liter engine in it with an awful lot of horsepower and a lot of personality. That thing is crazy.
That was a good day.
And the C5 Z06 is a much better all-around ageless sports car than people realize. That is a really good car to drive. Yeah. So all of those Z06s, or at least Corvettes, are at least available. Which Corvette intrigues you? Why does it intrigue you? The C7 is a truly modern car. Prior to that, the C6 and C5 generations, it's old Chevrolet interior thinking, and you just kind of have to look past some stuff. The C7 actually pulls it off with good seats and stuff. And that got me even further down the rabbit hole.
Okay.
Because I have to bring up, there's my car that breaks my rule of 20 years.
Okay.
But I have to bring it up. Under 50 grand, when we start walking our way down Corvette history, you know where we wind up? The C4 ZR1.
I love that car.
With the Lotus-built V8. This was the biggest surprise to us when we did our American original film, is we happened to find somebody in Utah with a black version of this. The ZR1. We actually drove 2 different versions of the C4, so we could drive a normal C4, which is the 90s Corvette, essentially, and then drive this big old ZR1 with the crazy, crazy Lotus-built V8. This is unlike anything else GM was making at the time, and it was a revelation to drive. It is a phenomenal car to drive. It's an old car, but they are cheap. And you have a very unique car in the ZR1, and we've driven it more than I think a lot of people, and it's very, very good.
Before you change photos, the way you tell this C4 ZR1. The way you can spot it is, of course, the badge, but if you're looking at the back, and I'm glad you've got a rear shot here, the bodywork on the ZR1 is 3 inches wider than the regular Stingray, the regular car, and you can see that in the license plate cutout. It's an extra 1.5 inches on each side of the license plate. That is the dead giveaway where you're dealing with a wider car, because they look so similar, you're not going to really see it at first, and then you walk around to the back, and it is truly a much wider car, and it does the proportions for this styling even better. I love it even more.
And the thing that surprises the most when we drove this, and I know I'm a little bit off book here, but this was the car that kind of drove timeless. I mean, the interior was old. You were like, oh, this era. Okay, got it. Yeah, C4, got it.
But plunger push buttons.
Totally. But the driving dynamics were timeless.
Yeah.
It was so well done. So I'm way off book here, but I wanted to bring up the ZR1 while we're talking Corvettes. I'm moving off of Corvettes finally to the MR2 Spider. I had to put it on this list. That is an overlooked, fantastic sports car.
You could get 5 of these for $50,000.
You could get 5, at least, maybe more. You might be able to get a full 10 of them.
Maybe a week's worth of driving.
You certainly could. You could have one for each day of the week. Buy all the colors.
These are inexpensive.
Get the most recent one you can find. They made them until 07, which puts it inside the commentary. But they made them from the early 2000s to 07. The early ones, especially the early ones with the quote-unquote automatic gearbox, it was terrible. Do not get that.
Yeah.
But manual transmission, this has a lesser version of kind of the engine that's in my Elise. Many people talk about this being the poor man's Elise, and they will put the Elise engine in it. But in its stock form, this is not a great-looking car. It is clearly trying to be the cheap Toyota alternative to the Boxster.
It's not trying.
You think it
is?
Okay, all right. Well, but
it doesn't have to try.
But that's an endorsement in its own way.
For sure.
I mean, that is definitely what they're aiming for.
Sure.
These are inexpensive. They're not that usable. There's very little storage in them, but they are phenomenal to drive. I am a big fan of these. And I think if you're talking a cheap, used sports car, 2-seater, this has to be on the list. This is inexpensive, and this is Porsche-style driving for a lot less. The interior is not great. I think you described it as having Home Depot plumbing parts. I mean, like the door handle looks
the
pretty,
plumbing section was consulted.
Yeah, there's some piping there that was not high end.
There might be the HVAC vents and
possibly,
exposed sheet metal.
But these drive so very well.
That's great.
And then I have to go another one. I brought up the Z4 Coupe BMW. Now, this is the same era of Z4 that I actually owned in convertible form. But I say, look at the Z4, and look at the Z4 that meets your price point, because this has always been the Boxster Alt. Most of the time, objectively, the Boxster drives better than the Z4. But these are less expensive, and they're unique comparatively. These Z4 Coupes, I think, is one of BMW's best-looking recent designs. And I actually like the convertible. I own the convertible, and I fit in the convertible. I don't fit in Miatas. I barely fit in Boxsters. The Z4, I'm like, look at all this space. So I have to say Z4 as well. I'm going to stop there. Oh, wait, no, sorry. I do have one more.
Okay.
How many? My list is like 12 things long. I'm sorry.
It's a lot of cars.
It's a lot of cars.
It's all good.
I have to bring up one more, and then I'll save my wild card because it does break some rules. But my one more, because I'd be remiss to not bring it up, Honda S2000.
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
Honda S2000 is one of those timeless things. I think, I'm gonna make a prediction here. I think in 20 more years, this is going to be looked at like the E-Type is looked at now.
That's high praise.
I think it's
a big statement.
It's a timeless design. It was a throwdown when it came out.
Yeah.
It still looks good. We saw a bright blue one on our shoot this weekend in California. And it went by, and I was just like, that's a spectacular car. And the one that they had was clean enough that I just thought, that could have been sold this week.
Yes.
It's good looking, it's clean, it drives well. Look, some of the technology in the interior is old, but it doesn't feel ancient. These cars they're good across the board. You can buy newer, more powerful, better looking. You can get better in any category, but this is so good in every category. And when you get them in a color and a late model version, a Honda S2000 is a superb car. And with $50,000 in your pocket, you can get a gorgeous one, a fantastic one.
You don't need to bring 50 cans.
Not even close.
To get a gorgeous one.
No.
You can bring 30.
Yes.
35.
Yes, you can get so much S2000.
And you'll feel
for
like
your
you
money.
overspent.
Yes, they are excellent cars, and they are worth being on this list. I have to stop. I've overstayed my welcome, but that's my list.
It's totally fine. And I think by now, dear listeners, dear viewers, you are probably wondering about our lists and the overlap on our lists. I went very specific as well.
Okay.
And yes, there's overlap, and there's other cars that are good that are out there, but it's like we always talk about. They might be 7s or 8s to cars that are 9s and 10s for us.
Yeah, for sure.
And while we acknowledge them, Audi TTs and Golf GTIs and Focus STs, all that kind of stuff, they're good, but they didn't go far enough for us. So again, we're sticking to 2-seat rear-wheel drive.
That's key. Oh, 2-seat
ideally
rear-wheel
manual.
drive.
We're recommending some older cars for OEMs to capture this same kind of feeling and desire in enthusiasts. They're going to have to do similar things. I don't know that there will be EV versions of small sports cars. There will. I guarantee it. They're coming.
For sure. Yeah.
Are they going to capture that same soul? And what I think
hard.
you and I are
That's
picking
hard.
are top 5 because of character and soul. Yeah. And the more we drive, the more I'm after lightweighting things. And I'm interested in more and more lightweight things. And I just think Camaros and Mustangs and Challengers and Chargers, they're cool and they have their place. They're just all too heavy. And so none of those are on my list.
Yeah.
So for Caymans, I'm starting there, but I want to select the 987, whether it's .1 or .2. I think this version, this generation, was the most lively of all the Caymans. Short of going to a GT4 like I now have, which I can't believe it. I'm amazed. That liveliness is back for me at an even grander scale. And that's what I love about it. But the buzz, the engagement, the steering quality on the 987s, I kind of want a 987 again. In addition, if I were to have 2 Caymans, I want the GT4 and the Cayman S.
Of course, you want to figure out your second
because
Cayman.
They're different. They're kind of different.
This is the most analog version of the Cayman, is the 987.
For sure.
Absolutely. Hydraulic steering in its era,
exactly
it's very
right.
analog. Yes.
Exactly right. Before it went to 981, which they're great cars. In 718, they kind of realized, all right, let's make it great once more. But this one is just so superb. The styling is really timeless now, and you can get them under 50. The problem with the car that I really want you to have is not 50. It is the Cayman R from the 987 generation, built in 2012, which is superb. Bumped up the horsepower, changed the suspension, better brakes. This one is so engaging to drive. Do you know how much these cost nowadays?
They've got to be 70, aren't they?
They're not 50, 60, or 70 anymore.
Really?
They're 84 to 119,000, depending on year, mileage and condition.
Oh man! Well, that shows you how desirable they are. But that's a little bit too bad. I mean, a few years ago they were all 65, and we should have all bought.
We
but
should have all
didn't.
bought them. And that's what we say about great cars. Cayman R is
it's a great car.
Really what? But
it's really good. Yeah.
What is good news is you can get most of the feeling of a Cayman R in a Cayman S in the 987 generation.
Yes,
I think those are superb. And I almost recommend starting at 987 and working your way through the generations as you mature as a driver, as you want something bigger, faster, but they're just so lively. But going back is no bad thing. I imagine the GT4 718 because it's the last of the breed. I hate to say it.
It's going to be last of the breed.
And going back to a Cayman R and having those two.
Interesting, huh?
I'm dreaming.
Of course you are. I have to say, while we are here, your 981, your second gen 2015 Cayman is currently for sale.
Yes,
so for those of you watching this podcast right now, currently as it drops, that is for sale. That is available. And honestly, if you're in the market for a Cayman, you could only do worse than buying a car that Paul has owned. And I say that because I do not keep my cars up as well as Paul does. His cars are pristine, and that car has been very well taken care of. Whoever buys your 981 is going to get an incredible car.
It's really sorted right now. Brand new TPMS, brakes, rotors, new tires. It's fully sorted with all the service.
You are the rare owner who was like, how do I make it perfect before I list it for sale? You're also that rare owner.
Well, I don't want anybody to say, well, it needs this or it needs absolutely nothing. It's perfect to drive. I'm going to miss that car, but I do want it to go to a real enthusiast, a really great home. You're going to get a fantastic car. So yes, everydaydrivertv@gmail.com for a used 981 GTS.
Unfortunately, it's above 50, but those cars are worth above 50.
It is.
So yeah.
So moving on to second on my list here is cheating a little bit because it's not really a two-seater, but I think it's a two-seater. It's in my mind, I always think of this as a two-seater.
It's funny.
Who uses the back seats except for kids?
Except for little tiny kids or your race tires. It's funny.
Yes.
This means I don't have to go back because this was my wild card.
Oh, it is?
Because it was 2+2. Yeah, this is phenomenal. It's great. It's really
and
good.
Now in its latest iteration, this is the Yuzu edition that is coming out later in 2025. We are all about it. We got a chance to drive it. It's not any different than the Hakone edition or
it's essentially the same car
else,
with a body kit and different exhaust. Yeah.
It does have quad pipes, and it's never looked better, especially in this color. What a superb car. It's just, I think of it as a two-seater, and so I put it on my list and realized I'm breaking the rules a little bit, but I think we all think of them as two-seaters, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's two-seat sports car is its premise, even though technically it's 2+2. Yeah, I had it as wild card for that reason. Yeah,
never looked better. I really love this car.
They're great.
The price of fun that we did was so, it sticks in my mind so much. Are you having 82% more fun by driving a McLaren? Are you having 36% less fun? No, you're not. They're just fun. And so highly, highly recommend. I am looking at the second generation here. That is the GR86. The GT86 would be first gen. And those, as fun as they are, of course, the torque dip, the lack of power, all of that stuff was solved in the GR86. And I like it so much better, more comfortable for straight line driving and long trips.
Yeah, it's
all that stuff.
They fixed or refined the stuff that we didn't like, and they didn't screw up anything we did like when they went to the second generation. It's a great car.
Easily under 50K. And then what surprised me was sticking with the Toyota product lineup is the GR Supra of any era. I love the manual. I love what Toyota has done.
The manual's really good.
To take that BMW gearbox and make it theirs.
Are there any manuals available used for under 50? I mean, I'm sure you could get a 3-liter early one.
It's going to be pushing
with the auto.
It's going to be pushing it. And so I'm hoping the podcast, this episode ages just a little bit so then we can truly claim 50K is right on the cusp.
But you can find 3 liters, though, with the auto.
You can find 3 liters, correct, with the auto.
Yeah.
It's just such a superb car, and you, of course, see the through line, 94.2 inches wheelbase. So
Cayman wheelbase, you're obsessed with that wheelbase.
That's right. It's the magic number. And Toyota acknowledging it and building a car to match that wheelbase of the Cayman is the best endorsement I can ever suggest.
Yeah, ridiculous, but funny that they did that.
Fantastic. So I suggest 2 GR cars.
Okay.
The GR Supra, GR86. And moving on, I also have the C7 Corvette Grand Sport because I wanted a Corvette, and I instantly put C8 Stingray. Wait, they're not 50 grand.
Yeah, yeah.
So what in the prior generation of all the C7s is the most interesting, engaging, and value of all the Corvettes are valued to begin with?
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
It is the Grand Sport.
Yeah.
What a superb car.
Very hard to find a Z06 at this price point, but the Grand Sports are out there, and C7s in general are great, great cars.
Just say, stick with it. Grand Sport, I love that car. It's just a cool car. And you know what? The styling on the C7 is looking pretty cool to my eye these days.
It's aged really well, and it really is, in many ways, it feels like the peak of what the Corvette was, obviously, versus what it is now, yeah.
All right, so moving on to the last car on my list. This is our photo from our Mazda MX-5 RF ND3 shoot, and we put that against the BMW Z4 M40i, but this car really stuck out in my mind. If you haven't seen that piece, that is a direct comparison. Obviously, the price is much different
That was
than the
part
BMW,
of the discussion, too, yeah.
But I fell in love with the ND3. I didn't realize that the minute changes that Mazda made to the ND3 generation, not to say that all of the other Miatas aren't
Not
great.
at all. I mean,
what do you do after the ND3 RF? I don't know what Mazda does.
It's going to be hard. It's probably going to be hybrids. What's going to happen?
They're going to, I mean, handling and chassis development.
I totally agree.
They're going to have to impress themselves to make something that's going to really stand out. I mean, what an incredible car. The passenger space sucks.
It's terrible.
Awful.
This is almost a one-person car, which
that's
is
where
terrible to say.
It's kind of a one-seater,
Yeah.
but that's okay. And what a fantastic car. This would be on my list. For the first time ever, a Miata truly is on my list of top 5 sports cars I would absolutely own. It's just so cool and fun.
I would have an NC, the prior gen, because I can fit in that one, and I do like it, and I do really like the NC quite a bit. But it's interesting, if you watch our Miata Generations piece, it's quite a few years old now because it was made right when the ND first came out. And we weren't big fans of the first ND, the ND1. And the 1 to 2 was when they did an engine change, and it revolutionized the car. And then they tweaked that further for the ND3. We're way down into minutia here, but it is really impressive how great that car is to drive. Too bad it's a one-seater.
It's a one-seater. Well, breaking
the BAC
rules.
Mono and the Miata, same thing, one-seaters.
True,
yeah.
they are. They truly are. All right, 2 cars left on my list here, and they are the extras. They do not meet the criteria, but they are worth a mention.
Okay.
The M2 competition.
Okay.
I really wanted to recommend the CS of the first F82. Was it the F82?
Sure. Yeah.
F87.
But those are too expensive.
F87. But they're too expensive. The CS is my jam.
It's very good. It's very, very good. We put it with a Lotus Evora, and it actually held its own. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. That was a mismatch, but fun for price.
So I have to step back a little bit, but that's no bad thing.
Yeah, these are
M2
great.
competition, and then of course my only front-wheel drive car.
See, okay, all right. I think you're off book at this point. I don't think it works, but keep going.
I think
Tell
it
me
does.
anyway.
Despite what Max has just proclaimed, that front-wheel drive sucks the joy, or whatever he said about front-wheel drive.
He wasn't a fan.
It's non-driving.
Yes.
I don't care what he says. This is a superb, fun car to drive.
Excellent car
and
to drive.
And it proves, I think, that front-wheel drive makes you an enthusiast too. Front-wheel drive can absolutely be. Honda has proven it to the world.
Yes.
Front-wheel drive can be an amazing, fun car to drive. The end. Full stop. That's it. Honda Civic Type R, the new 11th generation, despite what Max says. Well, Max and I can disagree.
They're certainly fun to drive front-wheel drives, and we'll talk through those at some point. And this is definitely among them. But I would say the thing on this car, on the Type R, is that you don't care what the drive wheels are.
Yes.
That's the interesting thing. It's irrelevant because it drives so well. It is Honda really throwing down everything they can do. I mean, yes, you can get them at 50. Yes, it's great to drive, but it isn't rear-wheel drive or two-seat. But at the same time, the fact that you acknowledged it is worthwhile. It's worth it.
It's a cool, fun car to drive.
It's very good. Bravo.
It's excellent. Griot's Garage is our official car care partner and one of the first ever sponsors of our show. They don't just make great car care products, they want you to get out and drive.
Griot's is a family-owned company, and they've been a part of every one of our road trips. We always take speed shine on every shoot, helping us spot clean cars in a moment's notice.
Griot's foaming glass cleaner is the quickest and best way we've ever found to get windows clean before a big day of driving. Griot's is always releasing new and improved products, like their updated Wash Bucket 2.
Plus, all of Griot's liquid products are 100% guaranteed and made right here in the U.S. The Griot's folks are always happy to answer any questions you have and make sure you get the right product and the right results.
So get the best quality car care products out there from a company that has always supported this show. Our audience can always get at least 10% off by using the code DRIVER10 at griotsgarage.com.
Our first car debate is Michael writing from L.A. He's writing in about his first sports car ever. He's been listening to the podcast for 8 or 9 years. Man, Michael, thank you. That's incredible. Thanks for doing that. We really love that. He is a 29-year-old clinical pharmacist and works from home in L.A. He drives to San Diego on weekends to see family a couple times a month. Otherwise, doesn't drive extensively during the week. He's getting married shortly, but they're likely to not have kids, and the fiancé will probably have, I hate to say it this way, the real car, the big car, the SUV, whatever it is, because he currently has a QX30 Sport Infiniti that he both loves and loathes. He says it's the rare hot trim CUV, and he kind of thinks it's a hot hatch, but it's built on the Mercedes GLA platform. And so it sounds like what it's inherited is little issues from both brands. Like some little Infiniti issues here, some Mercedes issues there, and so he said it. Luckily, it's under warranty, but he'd be out about $10,000 already in unforeseen maintenance. Warranty expires soon, so he doesn't want to own it outside of warranty. So the fact that he is wants to get rid of this little SUV, and the wife to be, the future MOF, is going to have an SUV, really kind of frees him up a lot.
I love the way, Michael, you described it as Infiniti skin on a Mercedes GLA. You're absolutely right. And we like parts cars. That's what I love about the GT4. It's a parts car.
Yeah.
Couldn't have sold that many. That was a bad idea.
I mean, it's a partnership, and they got an extra car out of it. And again, Mercedes is doing 30 cars in the next 2 years. What are they bringing out? My gosh.
Hopefully not a bunch of partnerships with everybody. It seems everybody's shacking up with everybody, right?
GM, Hyundai, and Mercedes bring you the...
No.
Yeah, that's going to happen too.
Everybody merges. What if all the world's car makers merged to make one special car?
And the brand is just called Car.
It's just Car.
Somebody said it's that logo. It's
Yes.
a C and an A and an R making a little roundel, and it's just Car.
Every manufacturer
Uh-huh.
contributed. What a great idea.
I'm going to buy a new car. What car are you going to buy? I don't know, but I'm going to go down to the car dealership.
Car.
Go down to a car dealership. I'm going to buy a car. What brand is that car?
Car.
Anyway.
Michael is looking for no dogs, no kids, no bulky sports equipment to carry, a fun weekend driver. Doesn't think he needs 4 seats because his fiance likes big cars. Will likely, as Todd, as you said, will likely get the SUV soon. Living in LA, Michael thinks convertibles is the preference, though he traditionally favors wagons, hatches, sportbacks. He could be convinced on a coupe and something relatively reliable, though he's open to purchasing a warranty if needed. For the budget, hard stop at $55,000, assuming he can currently get 18 to 20 grand for his car.
All right.
For the Infinity skinned Mercedes.
The QX30, we've driven it. Yeah, it's fine.
Michael is currently eyeing BMW Z4 M40i's.
Ooh.
I love this choice for you. He
That's
says
very
certified
good.
used ones with less than 20,000 miles are around 55 grand. That means the $75,000 version that we drove, they're now 55 grand.
It's crazy that they've come down that far. I mean, sadly, Michael, the reality is the one you want is the manual, but you're not going to be able to get a manual in your budget.
Is it really a hard stop?
Probably is a hard stop. I'll take his word for it here. He said he'd actually like to have a Boxster, but the Boxsters that he wants, none of them he can get for under 55. So, I mean, we just talked about cars under 50 grand. You could get a Boxster under 50. You definitely could. But the problem is you said you really want a 981 Boxster S. Really? You can't find one of those under 50? That surprises me. The 718 styling he doesn't actually like as much.
See, the 981 is prettier.
I agree.
Prettier.
I think dig nationwide because I think Boxster for under 55, you might surprise yourself, but I'm getting ahead of it.
Michael's considered Volvo V60 Polestars, Audi S5 Sportbacks, BMW M850 Grand Coupes. Those are too expensive. That's a big car.
What's weird, though, is all of a sudden we went to big cars. Big non-convertibles are the other things he's considering. Michael, let's go smaller.
Mercedes C-Class, CLA Class AMGs. That's a little bit smaller. So what is he missing? Michael asks if it would be terribly inconvenient to have a 2-seater convertible, even though his fiance will have a practical car. I think you just answered your question. No, because of your situation.
Yeah,
I think
totally agree.
Yeah, the SUV will take care of all those duties, and then I think you'll actually enjoy having the 2-seat, especially a convertible. I always take the budget as a suggestion.
You take it under advisement. That's really you'll take the budget under advisement, and then you will quietly rip up the paper and keep moving. Yes,
I say yes, noted, and sure, your budget is what you put on a piece of paper there. You've written it down. You do the car dealer thing, like okay, sure,
yeah,
55 is where we're starting, and what's your monthly payment budget here?
Yeah, and then they're bound to say to you, well, that's just a cup of coffee difference. What if you had one less coffee every morning? They forget about the fact that those of you, my great co-host included, that want your coffee every morning. There's no skipping coffee.
There is no skipping coffee.
That's not happening.
Nor food.
Anyway.
Breakfast has to. I have to have breakfast.
I understand.
So that M40i manual transmission, really like that car. If you can pull that off, I do really like it. The difference with the Z4 M40i, especially with the manual transmission, is that rear suspension got revised a little bit. Yeah. So we liked it a lot better. That's why we suggest manual, and it is worth it at that point. So yes to the Z4. Yes, shop. Yes, go look at those. I think those are great. I'm going to take you in a very strange direction because...
I debated this. I like this.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I thought if what you're looking for, what you described was simply a Miata, Michael... You just described a fun 2-seat convertible. Well, it's just the two of you. The Miata we have determined as a 1-seater. We're solved.
Yes.
And you just want top-down fun, cruising around LA. You want to slice through traffic. A Miata is your answer there. But I'm sensing, and we understand this, with LA, there's something about perception. There's something about the badge. There's something about pulling up or being seen or any reason it's more important and is magnified more in Los Angeles than anywhere else, I think, on the planet.
To some degree, you're right. So you're talking Aston Martin Vantage. This is the V8 Vantage era
So
convertible.
I suggest the V8 Vantage Cabriolet.
Okay.
If you can get manual, and this is why, again, I note your budget. You're right. I do take it under advisement.
It's under advisement.
I
yes.
see that on the piece
It's
of paper.
been submitted. Thank you for submitting your budget.
That.
Yes.
But Vantage V8, Aston, the sound, the perception is right in line with what I think you're looking for. Because if you're thinking newer Z4 M40Is, I sensed a perception thing going on.
Sure.
A little,
A
little bit more substantial car. That's exactly what this is.
But they're good on a back road. And honestly, look, the manuals on these are amazing. I really like that when you can actually find one that is manual, it's really cool. But I'm going to say it. You don't have to have a manual for this car to be great.
No, you don't.
It's very hard to find the manuals on this car, and you can get it with automatic, and it is still a fantastic place to be. And if you're just driving for fun, then I think the where this loses in fun, it gains in experience. So it might be a wash.
That's good.
You know what I mean?
That's good. Well, speaking of experience, I note your budget and I discard it to offer you a wild card just to get you thinking. I'm only discarding just simply to get you thinking a little bit differently, that we're talking now perception. We're talking open air fun. Perception is big here.
Yeah.
And we're talking power and sound and the looks, all of that wrapped into an Audi R8 Cabriolet. Go back 2 generations to get yourself the V8, and it doesn't have to be manual, although if you can, I would, but they're going to be super expensive.
Yeah, they're more expensive, unfortunately, yeah.
But if you're rocking an R8, what? That is such a different level. You can commute in this.
But 50-60 is the bottom of the R8 market.
It is.
So it's not, here's the thing. As much as you're blowing his budget, it's not like you're doubling his budget. The
really nice ones for manual, maybe. But
the market for these is roughly, you want to walk in the door with 70. And you can find either side of 70. So look, it's over your budget. You said hard stop at 55. Paul has blown past the hard stop. You're in the grass at the end of the runway, but you're not. But you haven't doubled. I will defend you because you haven't doubled his budget. This sounds like you just blew it out. The bottom of the market is the top of his budget.
Yes, that's good. And if you go back to the first generation here, I actually like the styling the best.
I agree.
I never liked the V10s and the subsequent generations. I feel like they really got away from that pure R8 shape and go back to the first gen, find a cabriolet, find something. There have been owners that put a lot of miles on these. So I don't think it's in the exotic car class where you have to be afraid. Just think that 4.2 V8 existed in sedans.
Yeah.
It existed as just cars you would just drive.
It was in the Phaeton that I had. And what was funny is we would have conversations with my mechanic because sometimes parts that needed to be replaced on the Phaeton, you couldn't get to them on the Phaeton, but if only I'd had an R8, we could just reach in and grab it, and vice versa. So invariably, whichever one you have, the opposite thing's going to go wrong. The reality about these R8s is they've been around long enough, people have put enough miles on them, they haven't been garage queens, that the known issues exist.
Yes.
And you can defend for known issues.
It is merely food for thought. It's
very
just a
interesting.
suggestion,
All right.
But I'm just throwing it out there just in case it appeals or you might want to go investigate. At least maybe worth a test drive. And
for sure, yes.
Just investigate a little bit, see what you find. I think it could be a really cool, interesting, different choice because of LA perception. Those are my choices.
Those are good. That's very good stuff. I have to jump to a couple of things, but one of the things that I didn't have a picture of, I'll start here with the BMW Z4 you already mentioned, and I'll use that as a launching pad for something I just thought up when you mentioned the Aston Martin.
Okay.
There is another one in here that I just this minute thought of, and that is Jaguar F-Type.
Yeah, that's good.
That is the cheaper version of the Aston Martin that you could get into, no question, for your budget, probably with money left over. If you could find a V6 F-Type manual convertible, does that even exist? Where are those in the world? I thought those are only hardtops. I think they may only be hardtop manuals now that we're talking about it. But either way, the convertible F-Type is a car that gets overlooked, and it could be absolutely an option here. Of course, the BMW Z4 you already are looking at, you would enjoy this car. It's very, very good. the manual's better. So can you spring for the, because it's not just a transmission change. That's the key thing. Yeah. So the manual is better if you can do it. I have to say Miata again. I have to.
It's so good.
We're talking about the Miata a lot in this episode, but if you're buying a fun car and you have a budget of $55,000 and you say, I'd like to have a fun car convertible, didn't we all just hear Miata in that sentence? Isn't that just
that's what I thought.
What happened? So
but it's more than his budget, and so we can spend more. He's already allowing.
We do have more budget than a Miata
said
allows.
No Miatas.
That's very funny.
Exactly what the number said.
The question I have for you here, Michael, is how big are you and how big is your fiance? Because if you're small people, the Miata is great. Paul and I are not small people. I've never fit in a Miata well, ever, unfortunately. And the passenger side space in the current ND Miata is poor. So if you're not big people, this might be great. But it is really hard to argue that you bought a convertible and you had more fun than you did top down on great winding LA roads in a convertible Miata.
It's cool.
You'd have a lot of trouble fighting that. But I have to go somewhere else. And we've also talked about this in this episode. Get yourself a Corvette C7. Because you can get a convertible, but the thing you have to remember is every other Corvette has a removable top.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that gets forgotten about the Corvette a lot. They're all target tops.
Yes, they are.
That centerpiece just lifts out and goes in the trunk or stays at the house or whatever. So every Corvette you look at, you could have a topless driving experience in that Corvette.
Look how good that styling looks.
You can do convertible, but I am a big believer in the fact that every Corvette, you have a removable top. So I think the C7 can't be overlooked here. That is a great option. $55,000, you can get a very nice Corvette, a C7, and enjoy it. And here's the thing. You guys could drive cross-country, San Diego, wherever you want, with plenty of space in the Corvette, including the fact that the back hatch has gobs of space. This is a cross-country grand tour, but if you get on a tight road in L.A., you will also love it. You're talking about fun car. You actually can get some usability out of. It's hard to argue against the Corvette. I know we've talked about Miatas and Corvettes a lot this episode, but they just work here. They just work.
I liked that. Across the country or San Diego? I mean, for as long as it takes you to get from L.A. to San Diego, it might as well be across the country. It might be
very similar in time. You're right, if you hit the wrong traffic on the wrong day.
Michael, thank you for writing. If you've got a debate like Michael's, write to us, everydaydrivertv@gmail.com. Topic Tuesdays, car conclusions, car debates. Nerval writes to us with an aging car fleet. The current fleet consists of a 2016 Honda Pilot with 162,000 miles.
Okay.
A 2021 Ram ProMaster City with 142,000 miles. And a Honda S2000 with 172,000 miles, which equates to, Nerval's math here is 8,000 milk runs.
I love it that you have that car and it's still running great. That's awesome. I love it.
Nerval has listened to our originally aired podcast and found it lacking.
It's funny when you get an email where somebody just says, I don't know that I like what you do. That happens here. But apparently he's found it since then. In the last year and a half, he's found it, listened to all the episodes, watched the videos. So apparently he didn't like it originally. And I will admit, we've come a bit. Things have improved just a bit since episode 1. He wasn't a fan of episode 1 or the first few, but he's found it in the last year and a half and likes it a lot. So he wrote in. I love that. That was a nice reality check. Like, you're right. Things have changed a bit. Okay. Good.
The past vehicles in his life were an 04 Honda Accord, 2000 Honda Accord, a 2011 Honda Element, 96 Nissan Maxima heavily modified. Those 90s Maximas just ran forever. You couldn't kill them with fire.
The four-door sports cars.
And a 92 Honda Accord. He's also driven the following cars: 93 Prelude SI, Mustang Fox Body, 81 Firebird 301 Turbo.
Interesting. Okay.
And a 2024 Cayman GT4 RS on track.
Good for you, yes.
It's different than a Mustang Fox Body.
Yes, it's about the same.
Nerval's always had a love for Porsches, and that last car has lit the fuse. I have also subconsciously pointed out his vitamin P deficiency. I'm going to use that sometime on a license tag or something.
It's very good, yes.
It is vitamin P.
Yes, it exists out there.
He says this has been rectified. He was looking to replace his fleet because the ProMaster City is a company vehicle. His budget is $50K with a Paul limiter of $60K. What does he get?
So the Ram stays. So we're talking about the Pilot and or the S2000, and he has most of his car history is Hondas.
Yes,
which is fascinating.
True.
I actually used that in my conversation here, but we're looking for a replacement. $60,000 for the top end. Okay, so how many Porsches are you selling him, Paul?
Well, I am going to not just sell you Porsche, but I'm going to sell you a very specific Porsche here. Nerval, I have decided that you need to go after the Cayman or Boxster T, the lightweight version. And that is because you've already driven a very specific Porsche. And this one, strangely, is kind of close to a GT4 with the nylon pull straps, for example. But what I like about it so much is, even though I have not driven the T version of the Cayman, is that it's very focused on the fun of driving, even more so than everything else. It's the Carrera T, and we have driven Carrera Ts. It is different. It does actually, it's just a little bit more. So it's a special edition. So it's got the Porsche Active Suspension Management. It does have the 2-liter flat 4.
It's the base
engine with the 6-speed manual transmission. But when you start to wring that out, I think the manual transmission paired with that engine is the better solution for the 4-cylinder.
Okay, all right.
The PDK with that motor wants to upshift very quickly, and it doesn't allow you to get to where the power is in that engine. It just wants to upshift, and so you're down in the low RPMs. So it's also got the Sport Chrono LSD, smaller diameter GT steering wheel, those straps, the nylon pull straps, and the best part...
See, I think the nylon pull strap says, we didn't give you parts, and yet you're making it a selling point. You are a Porsche guy through and through. Keep going.
But the whole point is, it's very slightly over 3,000 pounds. It's like you've gone back to that original Cayman S, the 987.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So that's what I'm suggesting for you, Cayman or Boxster T, and those are within budget, actually. I went shopping. They're not the Cayman R, which isn't, but these Cayman Ts, they're harder to find. It's a deliberate choice. It's a very specific lightweight choice. I had GR Super Manual on here as well for you, which I'm putting up on screen now, so that's another consideration, only because of the Cayman wheelbase numbers. But you're right, vitamin P deficiency, and I'm hoping the Boxster T or Cayman T will solve that. I mean, why did Porsche come out with this
it is bizarre.
Extra special and short-lived version? That's why I'm pointing you very specifically to this very special version.
Okay, I think that's a really good one. He's got $50,000 to $60,000. It's really hard to argue against that. I do understand that, and I can't argue against it either. But I'm going to come up with a couple of other options. If you aren't going to do Boxster, and you could for 50, 60 grand, he could get himself a used 987 Boxster or Cayman and a used Cayenne. And for 50 to 60 grand, you could have 2 Porsches in the garage from none. Now this involves you selling the S2000 and the Pilot, and then you keep the Ram for business duty, and you go from 2 Hondas in the garage, the Pilot and the S2000, to a Boxster, because there's your convertible, and a Cayenne. You could go full Porsche with this budget. It is very possible. But I have to bring up 2 others. And it's going to be fairly obvious because one of them we've talked about too much on this podcast, and that's the Miata, of course, would definitely work here. But I have something you're not going to see coming, and comes entirely because you are a person who likes Honda product. I think you could keep the S2000 and probably have money left over, and that is the Acura MDX Type S.
That is a sweet
It's
SUV.
Everything you like about the Pilot, with a Porsche style to it. It's faster, it's better, the dynamics are excellent, the engine is very good, the super handling all-wheel drive is wonderful. You rarely ever see these. New, they're like 70 grand. So get a couple-year-old one. Get this as your new bang-around, high-mile SUV, but it's going to have performance. It taps right back into your Honda love. This brand new or almost brand new MDX Type S in your garage next to your S2000, that is a very selective Honda buyer.
I like that you're going very specific with models too. It's interesting to me.
I think Type S, the MDX Type S and your S2000 is a fantastic 2-car garage that stays in the lineage of the stuff you'd like. Now, again, I gave you the all Porsche garage. You could go all Porsche. It's possible with your budget, and you could be very happy. I've had incredibly good luck with used Cayennes. So they're out there for your budget. Spend 25 to 30, half your budget on that, on the Cayenne, and get the other half for the Boxster. But you could stay Honda with the MDX Type S, phenomenal SUV. It is a Cayenne, performance Cayenne alternative for less money. It's a very, very good SUV.
It is.
Keep your S2000, drive your Ram, be happy. I have to bring it up because I think the MDX is going to get overlooked here, and it shouldn't.
That's excellent. Nerval, thank you so much for writing. Really appreciate it. Send us your debates. We're looking forward to hearing from you. For our first car conclusion, Jordan L. writes to us about the Bahrain Saga. It's a car conclusion for the overseas tour, and it's a bit lengthy, but rather intriguing. Jordan, I really appreciate you writing. He's following up from podcast episodes 697 and 871, where he and his family opted to sell the 2014 Audi S8 and rehome their truck and Jeep with family. At the time of their decision, the Houthi rebels in Yemen were shooting at all vessels remotely related to U.S. or Israel merchant shipping.
That's a sentence we've never said on this podcast in over 1,000 episodes. We have never talked about the rebels shooting at ships in Yemen.
But that would have put anything they shipped at risk.
Wow.
The intent was to ensure the harsh heat, sand, and terrible roads of Bahrain did not destroy their recently paid off fleet. He said it's worth noting the dash clocked the temperature at 118 Fahrenheit in the shade just 2 days ago when he wrote this email to us, which was recent. He said buying an island beater and commuting in it for up to 22 months seemed like the best course of action given their experience with the region, and renting and leasing for 2 years did not come out to be cost effective compared to just the outright cost of buying a vehicle. When they were last in Bahrain, they had work-furnished vehicles and lived within walking distance of the base. They were also there in 2020 during the initial COVID lockdowns with no kids, and they didn't consider what they didn't know or what had changed. So you remember when used car prices were through the roof during COVID?
Sure.
Of course, we all do. He said some regions of the world found that it made more sense for them to stay there.
They haven't come down at all, yeah.
Since people paid them.
If you're going to pay this much, we'll just leave the price this much. Yeah.
Getting a new vehicle in a country that only had imports was too much to justify the cost. And on average, used cars and SUVs that should cost $6,000 US hovered around 11,000. On average, he said they're also not pretty.
So that's not money well spent at all. Got it. Okay.
Jordan and his family found the local populace does not take care of their cars. The Middle East may be known for extravagant cars and luxury, he writes, but they do not take care of them. Preventative maintenance? None. Pride in the basic condition of the vehicle? Nowhere to be found.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
He test drove standard SUVs like the Mitsubishi Pajero, G-Wagons, FJ Cruisers, all not a decade old, that had air vents that were broken and punched out, screens smashed to inoperability. He said you would rather have purchased a 10-year-old Altima from an American teenager
than a 4-year-old Macan in Bahrain?
In Bahrain.
Wow. Okay.
He said we'd be horrified if we saw some Cayennes and Macans driving around there.
That's crazy.
Vehicles are treated like appliances, yet the status symbol culture for vehicles is still present. It's very confusing, he writes.
So buy it, don't take care of it. When it's, I guess, beat up, buy another one. Use it as a disposable thing. Wow. Okay.
He says the drivers are outright terrifying. He had a colleague state jokingly that at first glance he thought driving without looking at your cell phone was illegal.
You have to look at your
phone.
Basic traffic laws are not enforced. Car seats for children are non-existent and are not required. They regularly see young children hanging waist up out of the window or a sunroof of a moving car. Now, I will admit, that was us growing up.
Well,
it's just,
yes.
We survived.
I mean, that was my high school years.
Totally. We survived, and now we wrap kids in bubble wrap in, a chair with missiles, but that is not happening there at all. Yes.
He said becoming parents to their second child only 2 months after arriving in country might have had something to do with it.
Wow.
So they rushed into purchasing only a mildly molested 2012 Grand Cherokee Limited for $9,000 US. It's got that 5.7 liter V8, solid air conditioning and creature comforts.
Okay.
But after a week of ownership, they ended up having to replace the entire cooling system and a rear main seal after discovering it was botched. The repairs were botched by the previous owner. He says it makes the same noises his brother's 25-year-old Toyota makes, but it soldiers on, apparently. Wow.
This is crazy.
He and his wife found that they worked in buildings next to each other, and daycare is only a short walk away, so commuting together in one vehicle had been working well until recently. Other geopolitical events have made for insane working hours and conditions no family should ever have to go through.
All of you are actually you're rolling the dice and guessing what Jordan does and guessing which agency he works for and the things he cannot tell us or he'd have to kill us. Moving on, yeah.
That's good. He says to maximize flexibility and practicality, they decided to, again, hastily purchase a second car.
Buying a car under pressure is never a good thing. Jordan's doing it in Bahrain. Yes, excellent. Good choice. It's going to end up very well. Yeah.
Wow. They both wanted something sporty or luxurious they could escape in after work. The kids and their amenities always have a say, though. So because of this podcast, Jordan was hunting for an early 2000s Suburban or Tahoe with good air conditioning.
Yes.
That's a given.
Yes.
Suburban or Tahoe just equals good
GM
AC,
makes
right?
V8s that are designed to power the air conditioning system. It also moves the car, but it powers the AC. That's the purpose.
Limited budget of $10,000 US was not enough to buy one that did not need the same amount of budget for work, for repairs. And the allotted parking spaces in their complex garage limited to some Tahoes in this category. So what did they buy? They got a family-owned 2016 Chrysler Grand Caravan that was owned by their local mechanic. The transmission hunts around for years, and the AC takes about 15 minutes to get cold, but it's in budget and commutes the entire family comfortably.
All right, yep.
It's charcoal gray, slow, and very boring, and they have to remind themselves it's only for one more year, and then they'll see where the wind takes them next.
Wow.
He says he hates this because 7 months ago, he had the idea of buying an old Chevy SUV stateside, fixing it, putting quality tires on it. Apparently, it's difficult to get reliable tires in the Middle East, and then selling it for a profit. It would have been a great project for practical use, but now the juice is not worth the squeeze, he writes.
Wow.
He's kicking himself, but he says he's got a crazy life, and that's understandable, but... Wow, Jordan, thanks for writing.
That really is incredible. We love that you wrote in with all of this. The fascinating thing about this car conclusion is less the cars you got than the culture that you're dealing with. And that's what's really cool. It's just the world that you're in and that kind of stuff is really wild.
Did you see his postscript here?
Yes.
He writes, buying any vehicle while in postpartum does not help the depression.
True. Yeah, you're not going to get out of it because you bought a car. You appreciate the fact that I say buy the car for now, but obviously they've also realized that maybe more sleep would be helpful before they went out and bought something. So we're glad you found stuff that currently meets your needs, but we also appreciate the fact that you're a little frustrated by your current situation. But we appreciate you sharing it with us.
Car conclusion number 2 is from Tomas B. He's in the UK. We covered his car conclusion just recently, episode 1001, where he bought a manual BMW M2 after a difficult period in his life, in his family's lives.
Yeah.
They were expecting a baby in June of this year, and they're pleased to announce their son was born July 1st, safe and sound.
That's awesome.
That means they had to get a different car, though.
They did, yes. Well, but he was expecting that because, see, they had lost a child, and that was the problem. And so the reality is he bought this M2 as part of his kind of coping and knowing if we have a second child that is safe and well, then I'm happy to get rid of this M2. Well, baby is safe and well, and he was like, the M2's going. Here it goes.
So glad. So what did they get? A certified pre-owned 2016 Audi S5 Sportback.
Ooh, cool.
The massive hatch makes loading prams easy. Love that. We don't say pram.
We don't say prams. It's a great word. It really is.
It is a good word. Rear seat room was good enough for a rear-facing seat without crushing the front seat passenger.
That's good.
3.0 supercharged V6 met the more than 4-cylinder requirement. You remember that?
I do.
And he says the auto only was the compromise, but it is the DSG 7-speed, so quick shifting, responsive, and makes running errands easy. He's been for a drive with friends in the Peak District near where they live, and it does surprisingly well for being such a big barge.
Yeah, those are good cars. They drive well, especially when you consider what they are, but it works great for family, which is fantastic. I love that.
He says he's not sure it's a long-term car, but none of his cars have hung around longer than 2 years anyway, no matter how much he loves them. But it is black. He says it's impossible to keep clean, too big to fit in the garage, so it lives outside.
Okay, yep.
And then when we come to the UK, he and his friends have done the North Coast 500 in Scotland about half a dozen times.
I want to do that so badly.
Yes, we need advice on the trip route.
That is the top of my list of road trips I would like to take. I don't know if it's going to be the first one we take in Europe, but it is top of my list of ones I want to take. The problem with the North Coast 500 in Scotland is that I want to do that with my wife without having to film it. And that's even harder to justify because you and I are able to justify a lot of road trips by taking them and filming them. I just want to have like a few weeks to do North Coast 500. The problem is, will my wife tolerate me driving roads and oogling roads for that long while we stay in random places? There's a lot of stuff. Yeah,
I have a solution.
Okay.
Why don't you and your wife go on vacation? You guys go do that.
Okay.
And don't film it.
Okay.
Go enjoy. Just the two of you. Go
Sure.
enjoy. Go
Wait to
drive
see where
around.
this goes. Yes. Uh-huh.
You'll be mentally scouting.
I will be mentally filming it anyway. Yes.
Because, by the way, Todd has a photographic memory, so he will be able to tell you exactly where he wants to put the camera.
I will be able to do that. Yes.
Sure.
I'll be like, okay, 2 miles this way. There's going to be a turnout on the right.
He does that a lot. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's
amazing.
bizarre. Yeah.
So go have a vacation. Go enjoy, and do it without filming.
Okay.
Then I'll fly over. She can
get out. She's going to be like, I am done. I'm very done.
She can hang out.
I love you, but I'm very done.
She
That's
can
what
hang
she'll
out.
Say. Yeah.
See friends, hang out at a nice hotel or resort or do whatever. You and I'll go shoot.
She'll hang with my sister that lives in London. That's what she'll do. Yes.
She can hang out and then we'll shoot, because by then you will have done first a scouting lap.
I will have, yes.
And then I'll fly over, we'll shoot it, we'll do whatever cars. I'll nab some cars. We'll get some cars from somewhere.
Apparently we need to lean on Tom for all of the insider
it.
info. I would love that, Tom. We would love to do it. It is so on my short list, I can't even tell you.
Tom, thank you for writing. Really appreciate it. Car Conclusions, everydaydrivertv@gmail.com.
I'm going to jump into Did You See This? Because I want to talk about story in film, in TV, that kind of stuff. I just finished watching a TV show with my wife, and then I started reflecting on how it was similar to another show with almost the exact same premise. I'm going to talk about 2 shows. One is on Apple TV Plus, which is called Silo. And Silo has actually gotten some good press. It is a superb show. Very, very good. It is based on a great book series by a guy named Hugh Howey that wrote about essentially an apocalyptic event in the world. And so people throughout the U.S. move underground into underground silos, and that's how they're surviving essentially what is nuclear holocaust is what's going on. And so it is the dynamics and the politics and all of the drama of people living in a confined space, this underground silo. Then over on Hulu, you have Paradise. Guess what? The premise is surprisingly similar, but it actually is through the eyes of a Secret Service agent who is in charge of protecting the president as everybody goes underground. Fascinating to watch both these shows. So Paradise on Hulu and Silo on Apple TV Plus. I recommend them both. I prefer Silo. Silo is deeper. It's based on a book. Of course, most things based on a book are they're just more intricate than you can get even doing a multi-season TV show. But Paradise is excellent as well, and they both have different mysteries. But I thought it was funny because both of them have 2 major things in the premise that are identical. It's an important person dies. Nobody can figure out why they died in the first episode of a series that is about people living underground in a confined space. And the confined space is all about, I mean, let's be honest, because you have limited resources, you're living underground, it's all these people, everything has to be regulated, restricted, food, water, procreation, everything's got to be controlled. So to have someone of power that dies in that controlled environment throws everything off. It's like, why did that possibly happen? And that is essentially, and they take it to very different places, but that's the core of both of these shows. So if you're looking for the show to binge, I recommend both of these. I will admit I prefer Silo. Silo is setting up for its 3rd season because there are 3 books. I've read them. They're excellent books. Paradise was made for television, made for streaming, and they will, who knows if they'll do a 2nd season or not. I haven't heard that yet. I think they're going to. But both are excellent. Both have interesting commentary about current social realities, but they go down very different pathways. So there's discussion of billionaires, who gets the rights to more things than other people, and should that exist? How do we grow food, deal with waste, all the kind of stuff. We've moved underground. What do we do?
So they're both underground.
They both are. Now, here's the thing. Silo, here's the big difference between the 2. Silo happens hundreds of years after people have gone underground. Paradise happens like we just did this.
We're moving underground.
So they're different in that regard. So Paradise is a lot more shiny and new, and Silo is old, run down. It's like Mad Max underground. It's crazy, but I highly recommend them both. So that's my Did You See This for the day. I'm way away from cars, but I just like talking about TV and film. It's just fun for me to talk about story. But when I watched both of these, I've seen Silo before. I just finished watching Paradise, and I was suddenly struck by the similarities in premise while they go different places.
So you're saying, is there any driving at all? Is there any?
These are driving-free worlds. They really are. Yeah. Paradise has a little bit of driving because we just moved underground. But Silo, there's not even cars.
Because that would cause all of us to do car shopping even more. We'd be shopping like crazy.
Like we all did
looking
at COVID.
Shopping.
We all did at COVID, where we had to go buy a car. Well, everybody bought a car they're never going to drive and a dog they're never going to feed. It's terrible. But anyway, yeah, we're all resetting from that.
Jumping to social media questions. Thank you guys over on IG and Facebook. We've got one from Kirk M asking, based on the 12-to-1 ratio, the 12 pounds per horsepower ratio, fun ratio. What's the proper ratio for a new driver?
Ooh.
I mean, we have assumed
for sure.
We're all great at driving. We're all excellent drivers, right?
We're drivers.
We're all like drivers. Max is here, and we're like just a notch.
You and I are going to start being the ring record guys. That's exactly who we are. Totally, yes.
Everybody's the same.
Just ask us. We're available.
Amazing drivers. But about new drivers, Kirk is saying, is 18-to-1 too slow? Is that too slow of a car? Is something close to 14-to-1 a little bit better? He doesn't want people to be bored, new drivers to be bored while driving, but Kirk is looking for safety, affordability, and maintenance first, but wants to pass on car symbiosis as much as possible.
I'm going to shift the measuring category to answer this question.
Okay.
Because I haven't actually sat down to figure out what cars fall into 14-to-1 or 18-to-1 or whatever. I don't know. But I will say this. Every time you and I drive a new car, and it's 0 to 60 is 9 or slower, we talk about the fact that we're not sure that's safe anymore. Okay. So think about it in those terms. If you're looking to buy a car for your loved one that has just started driving, and the 0 to 60 is slower than 9, you're a rolling roadblock. Everything is faster than you. And that is an issue. I mean, I understand you don't want a powerful car for your new driver, but if it's slower than 9 seconds, 0 to 60, you're practically paddling, like open up the windows and like trying to help the car. That is very slow. And everything else is so much faster at that point that I think that is the danger zone.
I'm doing math on my
Are you really?
MacBook.
I'm always very impressed when you take on math.
I just calculated the GR86, and it came out at 12.7. So that would be right on the cusp of sports cars that are just slightly out of the range.
And the Miata's in that range too. It's like 12, 13, yeah.
I was just thinking about, Kirk, cars that as you talk about, Todd, you have to use all of the pedal travel. Let's say for both brakes and for throttle application. So you're using or teaching new drivers to use all of the car's capabilities, because most cars, we're just lightly pushing on the brakes coming to a complete stop. Brakes are very powerful.
Yeah, they are.
And then to get going again, you don't have to barely press for a turbocharged engine. You're gone. You're zinging away. So using a momentum car and finding a car that might be slower, but then that new driver can understand using momentums up hills. And you know what? The brakes are not quite as powerful, and so I need to start braking a little bit earlier and using cars that are under that threshold. I mean, the problem is modern Camrys and Accords are really quick. They're very fast. They're very powerful for what they can do. So I think we're going to have to go older, naturally aspirated cars and more economical. I think all the economical cars that you can think of, 3 and 4 cylinder whatevers that just didn't have a lot of power, great for commuting, I think that is something great for a new driver. I mean, they're, of course, within budget and for insurance costs too, but I think those are the sweet spot, because you have to, I can't get up this hill, and I can't keep up with traffic. So they're not bored necessarily, but they're realizing I got to get good tires on this so I can take a corner and understand hanging onto a corner so I can get on the throttle earlier and get that momentum. I love the
idea of using everything, but at the same time, you want to be using everything and knowing that you're not being a roadblock, because I don't want to create that level of stress in a driver. There's a trade-off there for sure. Damn it, Patton is asking about car colors. Should people be able to spec their car in whatever color they would like, or should there be some level of buyer protection, meaning certain manufacturers have certain colors only available?
We put the inflatable bumpers down the bowling alley for you. So you can we're just going to kind of guide you, Mr. Customer, Mrs. Customer.
Look, I think it should be a palette available to everybody. I really do. I mean, Obviously Porsche does paint to sample, and you can spend money. And if you spend money at the very high end of pretty much any car maker, you can get crazy paint colors. I feel like this should be a lot more available to all. I mean, not to the place where it's paint to sample, where you bring in, whatever the swath is and go make it match this. I don't mean that far, but I mean, so many manufacturers like, this is only our color. Like, it's a yellow. It's a red. The Mazda Miata is the biggest problem here. Mazda and Toyota right now have somewhat of a partnership on various things, to the point that Mazda is using Toyota's red and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Why isn't Mazda using all of the colors that are available on the 86? Where's the yellow Miata? Where's that light blue Miata like we first bought? I think there should be a lot more transition here, where when a car manufacturer, and I'm talking normal manufacturers, I'm not talking crazy stuff, when a car manufacturer kind of cracks a paint color, like, oh, that's a good paint color, then all the manufacturers of that level should be able to share that color. And it should be like a blanket upcharge, okay? Because what happens here is you see like white is included at $0, but then every other paint color is like $600. Let's make it $1,500, $2,000. Let's make it an up price, but as a result, you get an availability of palette. Like, I would like one in this color, and it's across lots of manufacturers. And then if you really want to go crazy, you can do paint to sample and that kind of stuff. But this Mercedes dealer we just drove through, there wasn't one colorful car on the lot.
Yeah.
White, gray, black, silver.
Yeah.
A couple of dark blues. Done.
If the world's car manufacturers build one car, paint color, here's the palette for your car.
New from the car company, the new car from the car company, offered in the color.
Car.
The car in the color. Buy it now.
Eric P. says, on Tuesday's show, we were talking about reliability. Do we think user error causes more cases of lower reliability rates than actual reliability issues? When Eric worked for Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram dealers, he says there was a focus on explaining the features to customers before they left with their new car.
Yep.
Because the dealer found people came back saying the radio's broken when 9 out of 10 times they just didn't know how to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Education. But people treat cars like phones. Don't tell me how to. I can do this. I can figure out a car. I know exactly what to do. Now, where's the button for that? And I didn't even know this car had that feature, and that happens a lot. So I understand education, but people don't like to be told. Nobody likes to be. Do you like to sit through an education process of, now let me tell you how to turn on the radio?
Mm-hmm. Well, and what happens also is I agree with you. People sit through that talk, and honestly, we absorb only the stuff we're going to need or are interested in immediately, and the rest of the conversation doesn't stick until you need that feature, and you go, how was I supposed to do that again? And Eric, I'll go you one further. This has actually been quantified, because those JD Power ratings and the reliability ratings that come out for the first year of somebody's car, most car manufacturers have gone down in rating over the last 10, 15 years. And they have looked at it in reverse and found that most of it has to do with people's frustration with UI. The number of problems, quote unquote, they're having with their car is not a problem. It's an issue that they can't solve. So they mark it as a problem. But the reality is it has something to do with the UI being now buried in the screen. They don't know how to find the thing. And so it doesn't work, or it was a source of a problem. So they mark a problem down. It's not reliability and it broke. To your point, Eric, it's people not knowing how to do it. But it's so hard to educate people on this. And you and I struggle with this because this is a car journalist disease problem. We climb into so many cars. You get another one, you go, wait, where is the... Okay, I'll give you a perfect one. The start-stop button. The automatic start-stop, because we desperately are always wanting to turn it off. You sit in every car, and the first time it dies the light, you sit there, light, like looking all directions, like head on a swivel, like, where is that button in this car?
Yeah.
Because it's different than the last car we were in.
And some cars default it on, some cars don't, and some cars don't have it.
And my parents currently have a brand new, it's like a year old now, brand new current gen Hyundai Sonata, and they love it.
Mm-hmm.
But my parents' history was only ever buying GM vehicles. So what's happened is, yes, it's got a lot of new tech in it, but they've seen Apple CarPlay and that kind of stuff. But what's happened is every manufacturer, Mercedes is the king of this, but every manufacturer has their own ways of setting up your center console and the stalks on your steering wheel. And my parents are defaulted into the way GM works. So I would bet you half of the issues they've had with this car, many of which I have solved for them, is they are looking at the car and expecting the things to work like a GM product, and it doesn't. It works like a Hyundai product. Hyundai does that stock differently. Hyundai puts that button over here instead of over there. And their first impression was, why is this so frustrating? But the answer was, you just got to learn where the button is. And I'm not coming down on my parents in this regard. This is exactly what Eric's saying, and this is common now. It's a problem.
Again, if the world's car manufacturers made one car with one user interface...
I love how we started this podcast talking about best sports
We
cars,
would
and
have
we've
to
ended
learn
up with the Unicar.
One.
Just one car.
That's what Apple is trying to do with Apple CarPlay
Yes,
Ultra.
there you go.
saw our last
You're right.
episode, but
Yes.
who gets to decide? Who is the arbiter of universal interfaces? So we just learned one. All buttons work like this. Do we want the Tesla Cybertruck model of the turn buttons, the turn signal buttons right next to each other? No. Even though every Cybertruck owner would tell you this is the best way ever.
It's fine. It works great.
No.
Perfect. Yeah.
It's built in. It's ingrained. The stocks. You can actually retrofit your Teslas with stocks.
Yes, you can.
To solve this problem.
Yes, you can.
Because stocks are better. They
yes.
just are. So it's almost like you're saying cars need to get a little bit less reliable. So you're forcing customers to remember to service something. But the only way we can get there is to increase the amount of tech. If cars are so great and work so well, and we can go like 3 years between oil changes and 10 years between service, and we can't. Don't do that.
Don't do that. That's all bad.
But if cars continually get more reliable because of manufacturing techniques and everything is so consolidated, the tech needs to remind customers and also remind the dealership to continually reach out, I guess, to the customer. And it hits your phone saying, hey, stupid, bring in your car for
nobody wants more phone notifications. That's all bad.
No, you don't.
And the UX should be easier,
I'm
not
trying to
harder.
solve it with tech, though. If we're
but-
so far down the road of tech. Again, if car manufacturers just all combine forces.
This is the solve. I didn't think we did it here today. But
car.
On today's
one
episode
car,
of the podcast,
one truck, one SUV.
it's just
for the rest of
new
time.
from the brand car.
New from car.
The new car from car. That's what we've done. We've just gone to Unicar. We're all going to wear the same suits, the same suits to go to space.
right.
And we're all going to drive the car.
The future is just...
the future
well,
is
it's three. It's three different box shapes.
I guess it is.
The people mover,
it's car,
the pickup truck, car.
You're right. The car, van, and pickup. Car.
Fun is outlawed.
New from
no
car.
more sports cars.
Yeah, new from car, the van, or the truck. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I don't know that we've solved it. I think we made it worse, actually, in this podcast. We've actually made it worse. But thanks for being with us. There will be more of hopefully making it better next time. We'll see.
Okay, so I'm anti this idea. I totally no.
New from car. I want to make the logo. It's a C with an A in the middle, and then the R is like shaped on this side. I can see the logo. It's like a variation on what the Toyota logo looks like right now. Just car.
You'd only have to learn one interface for the rest of time.
Everything. Yes.
Apple CarPlay is the interface.
I guess.
All right, we're going to end it there. Thank you guys for watching, for listening. Send us your questions. Looking forward to next time as always. Cheers, everyone.